back to episode 2 of our PCT Adventure. We pick up where we left off on a windy, open desert plain. We spent the night at the Stagecoach RV park and packed up early to head into the mountains. We knew it would be rough weather ahead, but the trail must go on. We set off on our trek to hike the 4 miles from the RV park back to Scissor Junction, hoping we might be able to hitch a ride along the way. And thankfully, a very nice local picked us up and gave us the lift we were looking for. From Scissor Junction, the rest of our day involved a continual uphill climb up and out of the valley. With storm clouds looming behind, we pushed forward for a 14 or so mile day, ending up at a really cool water cache set up by some trail angels. These desert sections of the trail would be so much worse if it wasn't for the awesome people who support this trail. We decided to set up camp here. It was semi-sheltered from the wind, or at least as sheltered as we could find, and had some dinner before settling in for the night.
The next day was a long one. Knowing the Warner Springs Community Center was our goal, we set off early with 18 miles to go. We hiked through the morning, and just as we started to think about lunch, some day hikers passed us by, offering up some sodas, which made an excellent addition to our break. After some food and beverage, we pushed on into one of my favorite sections of the trail. Here we entered what I believe to be private property and crossed over beautiful cattle fields by streams and more. And while it was still windy, it was by no means as bad as the wind we had left behind. Eventually the trail led us out onto a gorgeous rolling hill leading to the local landmark Eagle Rock, and for a brief moment it felt as though we had been transported into the rolling hills of Scotland. Eventually we made our way down through more meadows and oak trees to a beautiful creekside campsite just down from the community center, where we set up our tents, then happily made our way in for some warm food in our bellies.
The next morning, we happily returned to the community center and enjoyed a little warm breakfast and coffee as we took a slow start to the day. Most of this day was again an uphill climb, stopping briefly on a beautiful creekside for lunch. From here, we continued to gain elevation back into the wind, but with the forecast being for the storm to subside, we kept our fingers crossed it wouldn't manifest into much. We nonetheless found a spot well sheltered among the trees and briefly relaxed before calling it a night.
We once again awoke before the sunrise and knew water and potential shelter was only a little ways ahead at a spot called Mike's Place. We pushed on and got there right around time for breakfast and coffee. While Mike wasn't home, a few hikers who had stayed there that night assured us we should check it out and gave serious Fallout vibes. We hadn't fully planned this day, but we continued on, not sure where our next campsite or water would be. We hiked on, stopping from time to time for lunch and to rest, as by this point Laura's feet had started bothering her more and more. As we neared where we initially planned to camp for the evening, we saw a sign for another trail angel promising food, fresh water, and camping. And while it wasn't listed on Far Out, we were thankful to turn off the trail and walk the half mile up to the Debonetti's place. Similar to Mike's Place earlier that day, it felt like something straight out of Fallout, especially when our hiking buddy AO put on the Fallout playlist inside the old trailer shelter. The angel there was nice and offered us hot dogs and gave us a great place to crash for the night in between brief scattered thunder showers.
The next day saw a shift in our plans. As mentioned before, my feet were starting to act up, and as we got started on trail, it was clear that a night of rest hadn't helped as much as we had hoped. While our original plan was to push into the San Jacinto area, then hike to Idyllwild, we shifted gears and made the 14-mile trek to the Paradise Valley Cafe, where we would enjoy a warm, hearty meal and reevaluate our next few days. It It was a hard call to make, but we decided that the best course of action was to reach out to some trail angels and take a long weekend in Idyllwild to let my feet rest. And thankfully, Scott and Melanie were amazing. They picked us up at the cafe and let us crash at their cozy little Airbnb and snuggle with their dogs, Ferlin and Jean, even taking us out to breakfast the next day. Huge shout out to them.
The rest of our weekend was spent pre-planning the next phase of our trip, letting our feet and bodies rest and recover, and enjoying our time in Idyllwild, both by ourselves in the hotel and out and about with other hikers. That's the end of our tale this week. We'll pick up again next week with our trek out of Idyllwild and into the heat of the desert to follow.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to follow along.
And most importantly, my friends, do not forget to enjoy every day, y'all. Peace.